Guys on YouTube, how are you guys today? Well, I want to show you guys on the basics of the type of soldering iron and soldering gun you would need to fix small electronics, and also for all sorts of different hobbyists and stuff. Like you do stained glass, you would use a bigger one versus a smaller soldering iron. But these are the basics tools I use sometimes. I don't use them every day. Okay, the one I mostly will use every single day is my small 30-watt Radio Shack iron right here. This is just a small one. It's a very nice one. Very handy tool to have to fix electronics. This one's also a nice one to have if I'm going to be using with this one with big old components or big old electronics and stuff like that. But just a small one will just do for me just fine. I'm going to demonstrate you guys with some stranded copper wire and also with some solder wheel. There's some silver solder wheel, but this is a good idea to choose on what type of soldering iron you need for your project. Now, I didn't need the big giant soldering iron to fix my ProScan speakers. I used my small 30-watt iron right here. Now, this one here is already warmed up. This one here is completely ice cold because it has a built-in switch. This is called a soldering gun. Okay, it's a big bulky transformer on the inside of it, and this really is a good tool for certain things, but it's also not a good tool for small electronics because the style tip of it is just too big to get into small spaces. Like with this one's easier to get into small spaces. These are all electric, 120 volts a piece. This one's a 30 watt. This one is a 150 to 230 watt soldering iron. These are both from Radio Shack. Very good iron as well. Now, this tip will glow. This tip on this one will glow red, really hot. That's why it's kind of discolored there. And I also have a piece of scrap wood to demonstrate you guys on how dangerous this type of soldering iron can be, and with the small one as well. But let's go ahead and do some comparison here with two different soldering irons here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to strip some wire here. Just using just a old Christmas stranded copper wire here. I'm just going to go ahead and take the cutting off of both sides. We're going to use this one first, then we're going to use that one for the on side of the wire as well. But I just want to show you guys a basic soldering iron will work just fine. You don't need like one of those fancy style soldering irons, But a good iron is a good thing to have. A good iron is a good thing. But for basic use, for basic tasks, you just need just a small soldering iron will work just fine. Stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just going to twist these two together, and I'm just going to show you on what I do when I need a wire to be soldered. I don't grab my big giant one every single day. I grab my small one. And yes, the small one works just fine. Okay, now I twisted up the copper wire. You guys can see that. I twisted the copper wire together, and I have this 30 watt iron warmed up. But we need to tin the tip of my soldering iron. And you see it's a little bit smoky, and that's always good. We're gonna tin it. Then what we're gonna do is we're going to clean it off with my sponge. Make sure it's nice and clean. Ooh. And also be careful because it's a little hot. Now a small 30 watt iron will melt small wire and a small solder hill. Now, do be careful if you're going to be using a soldering iron. Don't melt the insulation because this is a 30 watt. This will actually melt the plastic as well. Now, we can do a trick. We can put the wire or the little guy on top, and we can add the wire like this. And we're just going to see what we're going to do. See that the copper is getting hot. The copper should be getting hot by now because the solder will flow nicely in the unit here. Now, if I don't got it all out the way it's supposed to, this takes a while. You guys can see the wire is getting nice and toasty on either side of the wire. Okay, now the wire is heating up very nicely, and that's what you want. You want a good, nice heated joint on either side of the soldering iron. Now, the trick is to get a nice even flow of solder on your wire. That's all you need. A nice good flow. Not too much, because it would be a bad solder joint. And there you go. You guys can see we got a little bit of bulge. We just fix that up there. You guys can see there's a perfect solder joint right there. That solder joint is never going to come apart, or if you decide to desolder. That's a perfect solder joint there. Now, if you was going to be using this wire for anything, you typically will put a piece of heat shrink over this little wire. But it's very interesting to see on how everything goes. Now, we're going to put this guy off to the side. And we're going to bring in the big guns. Oh, I mean the big soldering iron, but again, for this type of project, I'm showing you guys on why you don't really need a very big soldering iron. But I have it, and I'm just showing you guys a soldering gun and a soldering iron will work just fine for small, simple tasks. But to be able to fix something with the big one, it's not going to work because the tip is just too big on it. Now, both of the iron's tips can be replaced. I'd have to make sure I buy the right tip for each of my soldering gun and soldering iron. Now, that's a good joint there. That joint's never going to come apart. Now, this is just a scrap piece of wire I'm just using for this demonstration here, guys. Just to show you on certain things what a small iron can do, and same thing with any type of soldering station or a soldering gun or a soldering iron can do. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and lay that on the table. This one I did with the 30 watt Radio Shack soldering iron. Today I'm going to go ahead and use the big soldering iron or the soldering gun to actually go ahead and melt the outside with this one. But like I said, this one's a little bit more bulkier and it's a bit more heavier to control than this one. Alright? But the reason why is a everyday use. This guy can become a pretty nice iron for certain use. Now we're going to add, and this does have a light in it. Now this will glow red. Trust me. Now I don't know if you guys can hear that. Has a bit of hum to it. It's pretty interesting. Now this will take a little bit of time to heat up. But you guys can see, it's now getting so hot. I don't know if my tip is going to be hot. Oh yeah, my tip's hot. But you can see the saddle does not stick to the tip of my gun like on my own. Now, before you get this thing so hot, Let's go ahead and lay this down on the thing. See what it's gonna do for us. Don't know. Don't know what it's gonna do. Ooh, maybe this thing's getting hot. It's kind of interesting. And I'm actually burning my desk there, guys. With my big giant soldering gun. Or the giant soldering guy here. But yeah, it's going. Yeah, it's definitely going in now. I can see it's melting in. And the water. That's a very nice sign the water was melting. Ooh, baby. That baby's getting hot. Alright. Look how loud that guy. Look how loud that thing is. I don't think you guys can see how loud that soldering tip is. Look how loud that guy is. Holy schneckens. That's a very hot one. Now you gotta let that cool off and make sure you don't burn it. Make sure you don't burn anything with that because holy schnappens. That is a very hot iron or soldering gun. And you can see, perfect job with that soldering iron as well. That soldering gun. You guys can see, that's with the big giant soldering gun, and that's with the small soldering gun, or the soldering iron area there. Now, the reason why I don't grab my big one all that often, and why I just grab the small one, is because the small one is a better soldering iron for me because I can actually control it, and it's not as bulky as this one. Now, you can see on how hot the soldering state or the soldering iron and the soldering gun get. I got this piece of old scrap wood. I'm gonna show you guys on. I never do this with your soldering gun or your soldering iron. Let's see this. When you get when you warm, okay. I can leave it here, and it won't even burn. It will burn, scorch the wood, but it won't get as hot as my own. I can spell the wood burning. That's about it, because this soldering iron is not for wood burning. It's just for soldering. You guys can see that. Now, let's go ahead and crank up the heat on this big old boy and show you on how hot this unit really gets versus my 30 watt. I have two different ones. I have this one and I have that one, the 150 watt to 230 watt iron hill or the gun hill. Now, this is meant for soldering. These are not meant for burning wood. Again, you have different ones out there you can use to burn wood. Now, the tip is getting nice and glowy red, like it's supposed to. We're just waiting for it. Now, let's go ahead and... yeah, see, that's how hot this versus my own. You see how hot that got? Holy schnackens. Now, I need to wipe off the wood chunks without wearing my sponge too much. Guys can see that's the reason why I don't use my big one. That's why I only use my small one. You guys can see, here's my 150 watt gun. And here is my 30 watt iron. It only went through half the wood. This one went somewhat deep into the wood itself. That's the reason why I only grab my small soldering iron instead of my big one. Because if you don't be careful with your equipment like these, soldering gun and a soldering iron, you can actually ruin your equipment. Now, these are a good tool for most use. If you're going to be soldering every single day, I recommend getting a temperature controlled soldering iron and also a soldering gun. This is for bigger jobs. This little guy is for dinky jobs, for small jobs, for repairing computer speakers, repairing certain types of wires like this. You guys can see, that's all I use my small one for. And also I use my big one as well. When I need the big one, I will use it, but I don't use it every single day. Now that's just a piece of scrap pile. I'm just gonna throw that away. But let's let you guys know. You guys choose on what type of soldering iron or soldering gun you want to buy. Do you want to buy the big giant Radio Shack gun here, or do you want to buy a very small soldering iron here, or a temperature controlled soldering iron? Alright guys, this is my demonstration of my two pieces of equipment and tools I use to solder. If you guys are brand new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below, please like, please share, peace out, bye guys, we'll see you in the next vlog.